Hi, I'm Stacie.
And I'm Kristi.
Welcome to Art After Dark. If you have a Procreate gallery full of almost finished designs, a pattern collection that's been sitting at 80% for 6 months, or a product you haven't launched because finishing it feels scarier than starting it, you're in exactly the right place. Today, Stacie and I are talking about the pile of almost done things, why we can't seem to cross the finish line, what's really going on when we stall out, and what's actually helped get us there.
All right, here we go again. The working title of this episode is The Pile of Almost Done Things.
I mean, there is definitely a pile. I also think back to our course graveyard,
Uh-huh,
because I do think of some of these unfinished things as being in the graveyard. I mean, they're not dead, but they're almost dead because they're not done.
right.
Yeah. What is something that you finished recently that you are proud of? Like, let's just start with something like, yes, I did this thing all the way to the end and I feel really good about it.
Yeah, okay. So I send out a monthly block print, and part of the reason I created that was to increase my skills in block printing. So every month I try to kind of challenge myself to tackle some new skill within block printing. So for April, I printed a 3-color block print, which I have never done. So I had like a
Wild.
background color. So it's a moth. And so I have the background color, and then there's a moon behind it. So that's 2 colors. And then I have the like details of the moth on top of that in black. And that's one of these things that I've been wanting to do for years, but have never actually like done the thing. And so after I printed the first 2 colors, without that third layer, it looks really weird and boring. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out. And then I printed the third layer, and it was like magic. It was so fun. Yeah.
Oh,
That is by
yay.
far the most exciting thing that's happened recently to me.
That's very exciting. And the
Yeah.
fact that you've been wanting to try that for so long
Hmm.
and did not do it until now,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah. What about you?
So, congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, it's the sketchbook revival that I just participated in.
Hmm.
I've made a few YouTube videos, but I've never done anything instructional. And so I made 2 videos, one for the free signups and then one for the VIPs. Um, Making those 2 videos was something I've just never done anything like that before. Didn't
Mm.
know if I could do it, but I did it. And it seems to have been well received. So I'm really proud of myself for saying yes and seeing it through. And, it's nice that people seem to resonate with it. So yeah, it's kind of weirdly opened up other doors. So, yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge, Stacie. It's so big. Of course, it's still the thing that's coming up over and over because it's huge.
Yeah, it was kind of a big deal
Yeah, it was definitely a big
for
deal.
me.
Definitely a big
Yeah,
deal.
just to even be included, let alone to actually do it.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I want to talk about something related to this idea of having these unfinished projects. Now, I just learned about this in preparation for this video, so bear with me. Okay. It's called the Zeigarnik Effect.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's the name of the guy who found it,
Probably.
obviously. Probably a man. So the idea is that your brain holds on to unfinished projects and remembers them more than the finished
Yeah.
projects. And this is actually very striking to me when I even just look around my living room and I see all of the things that I would like changed or that are like partially there, or like maybe I've partially decluttered an area, but not the whole area. I don't know. There's something about this. At the end of this episode, I am going to do a deep dive on this subject because I do think that there is something about this idea of having these unfinished projects sitting in the back of your mind and taking up space and adding, like they just pile on. Like the more unfinished projects, the heavier you feel. And I think it has to do with not just the physical aspect of our environment, but these projects that we're working on. So, like, I can think of about 50 patterns that I've designed to 80% of the way done. And for whatever reason, I can't cross the finish line. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like I've come so far on this Italian collection that I started working on in March 2025. I have still not finished. I have received feedback on it. I know what changes I need to make. I have not done it. And it's just sitting there taking up space in my brain.
Yeah.
Like it's a real thing. And now there's a name for it, Zeigarnik, whoever this guy is. So, like, there is something to be said about trying to finish these projects to get them off our plate and to make space for what's new.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm just having like a light bulb, lightning, light bulb,
Light
whatever it
bulb.
is, it's happening right now. It's happening live.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because I think about this in my day job. I manage a team
Mm,
of 6 people, and I'm constantly telling people, we need to close this loop. We have to close this loop because for me at work, I have too many loops that are open and I start forgetting things. And so I say it to people all the time. I say it to myself all the time. Like, you have to close these 3 loops this week because we need them to go away. And so,
yeah,
but at the same time, I don't do that in my own art business. I just keep leaving them open and adding more
yeah,
and,
yes.
letting it clutter up and weigh down my brain.
Let's just take a second and just like feel that because I think it's real. If you think about the things in your art business or in your personal life or in your household that are left undone. And I was telling you before we started recording this too that I literally without even making this connection, I wrote a note to myself in my planner this week. I am so sick of writing the same task week after week.
Yeah.
And there's this saying I think it's a French saying. I'm not going to say it in French, but it's like eat the frog,
Mm,
and it's this idea of getting the hardest thing out of the way
yeah.
first. And maybe I need to start thinking about that in terms of these unfinished projects.
Yeah.
And maybe the goal is just one a week.
Hmm.
How much better would that feel to get these effing things off my
I know.
list? Finish that Italian collection. There is no reason why it's still hanging out there almost
I
done.
know.
I mean, there are reasons, but like there's really no reason.
Yeah. I was watching this Liz Kohler Brown video. I don't even think I watched the video. I like just read the title. And the title was
Mhm.
something like, look through your Procreate gallery and see what unfinished artwork you have and use that to create a calendar. And I thought to myself, oh, I don't have that much unfinished artwork in my Procreate gallery. Wrong. I opened up my Procreate gallery and I was just like, look at all of these abandoned projects. I was just like, I couldn't even believe it. And it made me think in that moment, like, I don't want to turn all of those projects into, calendars. I'm working on one of those
Yeah.
already. But it did make me look at everything and think, I'm not starting any new projects. I am going to work my way through this gallery and either I'm going to trash it because I don't want to pursue it, or I'm going to finish it because it was so, I was like upset at the amount of unfinished artwork that I had in Procreate. I was so shocked. It's like many years worth of almost completed illustrations or greeting card collections or whatever it is, pattern collections. I was
Mhm.
completely blown over by the number.
Yeah. 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 It's wild. And I think, I mean, I know that we've talked about this in previous episodes, this idea of like done is better than perfect.
Hmm.
And even in our last episode, Kristi, we talked about your YouTube
Yes.
video, and all you need to do is make that thumbnail and post it because it's already done and edited and ready to go, but it's not exactly what you had hoped it would
Hmm.
be. This is another example of that.
Yep.
Like, done is better than perfect. And as a perfectionist of recovering, I mean, I don't even know if I'm recovering at this point. I feel like I'm still in it, but like this idea that done is better than perfect. And it doesn't mean that you don't care. And it doesn't mean that you're being
Yeah.
careless, but you need to just, the only way is to just keep going and get those things done and get them out and move on to the next. And you tweak it a little bit better for next time. Like every time you just sort of keep, getting it better and better, but you've got to get these things done. You've got to get them out of your
Yeah.
brain and off your desk and off your Procreate and whatever it is. Like, and it doesn't mean that it's not great. Like but you need to get it done,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? I mean, sorry if I'm being a little harsh. Get it
No,
done.
it's true. I mean,
Note to
yeah,
self.
note to self. Absolutely. Why do you think finishing is so hard? Because I know all of us work really hard. Like we have an exciting idea, we execute it almost, we're so close to finishing it. And yet there's something that, like, whether it's shiny object syndrome or something in your life happens, or I don't know, you can't get there, even though you're so close. I know perfectionism definitely plays a part, but I just can't figure out there has to be something else. It can't always be perfectionism, right? There has
Perfectionism.
to be
Yeah.
something else that's like either killing your will to finish, or maybe whatever you've created isn't quite what you had dreamed it would be. And so and
Hmm.
this is kind of perfectionism, like rather than disappointing yourself, you just kind of step back quietly, because you don't want to see the end result and not be happy about it. Um,
Yeah.
but it just feels like there must be something else that, like, is keeping us from getting there.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely it's perfectionism, but there are a lot of subtleties within that. Like perfectionism is like the main header,
Hmm.
but like under that is, like you're saying, this idea that, well, I have this vision in my head, and if I just keep working on it, it'll get there.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, maybe, yeah, I would assume so. But also, can you get it done and move on to the next and keep going
Hmm.
in that direction? I think it's also this fear of failure. So, like, excuse me, if I don't finish, then it won't fail.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's something like if it's a product launch or something, right? And you want to launch your calendar, and if I don't finish it, then it can't fail.
Yeah.
If I put it out there and no one buys it, is that a failure? If I don't finish it and I don't put it out there, then it's not a failure, except for the fact that you failed to put it out,
Right. Yeah. It's a different
which
kind of
is
failure.
kind of a failure, different kind of failure. So I think that's part of it as well. And there is again this sense of like being afraid to put yourself out there and the response that you're going to get, whether it's judgment from other people or it's this feeling of not being accepted, especially if it's a product and no one buys it. You feel like, oh, well, I guess my product wasn't good enough. So why would I even finish? Um, and on a lighter note, you can just generally maybe just lose interest or be bored, or
Yeah.
maybe it's not your jam. So
Yeah.
you just abandon it. And that's fine too. That's a lesson
Yeah.
to learn.
I think what
But
I noticed when I looked through that my Procreate gallery was there were some things that I didn't finish because they were part of maybe a class I was taking, and again, the course graveyard, I got distracted, I moved on. But then I did see there was one greeting card collection that I started working on, and I definitely had those feelings of I have this idea and I'm really excited about it, and I'm just not sure that I can execute it. And so I have
Mm.
thumbnails for every, and it's like a 4 card collection. I have thumbnails for all the cards. And for some reason, that's where I stopped. It was like I
Mm.
had these ideas and I felt like, no, somebody else out there has already made cards like this, and there's no way that I can meet or exceed or even like become slightly below these existing cards, right? Um, which is silly. I mean, there
Yeah,
is,
I don't think it's silly.
but there is so much.
I I I actually feel so seen right now by what you're saying because it's the same. Like, are you in my head? Because I have the same thing where I will plan out a series and then I'm really excited. I'm starting. I love to start.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting. It feels great.
Starting is so much fun.
And then I'm like, well, nobody wants this because they can get it already from someone else that's better than whatever I could do.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a real
Yeah.
problem. So I don't think it's silly. I mean, I know what you mean when you say it's silly, but
Yeah.
like in all seriousness, like I feel like this is a real thing for artists
Mhm.
is being able to finish and see something all the way through
Yeah.
is is very hard for so many reasons.
Yeah.
But
So what have you found that works for you to actually get you to the finish line?
yeah, I think the biggest thing, even if it is 80% done and there's only 20% left, which is a small percentage, that 20% can feel like a mountain.
Yeah.
So, what I have to remind myself to do is break up that 20% into smaller tasks. And by small, I mean, okay, I need to finish this Italian collection, which this is going to be the theme by the end of this podcast. Okay, just know that. Um, there are, I don't know, 8 patterns in the collection. Oh my God, I had to finish 8 patterns. No.
No.
Can you work on one? And can you work on one thing in that one pattern?
Mhm.
And like a lot of things, once you're in it, you will find that you will just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So I would say the first thing is to break that into smaller tasks and get as small as possible. Because once you start checking off things in that 20% that has become now smaller, you are going to get some momentum and you're going to be like, okay, yeah, I can do this. You're proving to yourself that you can finish
Yeah.
by doing the small things that stack up.
Yeah. Something that so I've been working on this. I'm trying to get out a like academic year calendar, a new calendar. So I've redated my old calendars and then I have this new calendar that I'm working on. And I already have 6 of the illustrations I had created previously for another thing. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna cannibalize that work. And then all I have to do is create 6 new illustrations. And for whatever reason, I was focusing on redrawing those existing 6 illustrations.
Mm.
And I had this conversation with Claude where I was kind of trying to work through what would be, this is when I want to launch the calendar. Can we like backtrack and figure out how I can plan my workout to meet this deadline? And Claude's first step was you need to work on those 6 illustrations that are new. And I was like, ooh, it's like that feels so much harder than redrawing my other illustrations in the correct format. But for the last 2 weeks, I have been working on the new illustrations and I've done 3 of the 6. And yeah,
Good.
and so this is where I know there's a lot of people who have very strong feelings about AI. I just want to acknowledge that. I never use AI to create artwork, but I use it a lot to brainstorm and to figure things out. And this is an
Mm.
example where I use that tool. And what I was really surprised at was it kind of called me out. It was like, you're not doing the hard part. Like, you
Yeah.
need to,
Eat the frog.
yes, you need to eat the frog. And so, and even there's moments where I open up my like little, stack that's of these illustrations And everything in me wants to like click and open the existing illustration that I can like mindlessly redraw. And I keep
Mhm.
not doing it because I'm like, no, no, no. You have to eat the frog. You have to do that thing that's hard.
Yep.
Um, and I'm hoping that that's going to make me finish this project in the timeline that I'm like working toward. But that's just to say, like, it's really hard to figure those things out. And maybe you need to either talk to another human or like run the ideas past some kind of tool. And it might just give you this like it's like a small bit of information it gave me, right? Where it completely flipped the way I was doing that whole project. And I think I'm much more likely to actually complete it now.
Yeah. I mean, working on those former illustrations is a sort of productive
Exactly.
procrastination, I would say.
It is.
It feels comfortable, it feels safe, it feels like you're moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not actually.
Exactly.
So, yeah, in terms of getting that 80% done or the 20% done, I think also trying to batch those items
Mm-hmm.
in a time frame, like set a
Yep.
timer and maybe almost even gamify it because it has been weighing so much on you. Not only can you make the task smaller, but gamify it
Mm-hmm.
by setting a time limit and giving yourself, okay, I'm going to do this in 1 hour,
Yeah.
and keeping in mind that done is better than perfect, and also this idea of something being good enough. Like only you know where you're trying to go in your mind and that gap between what you're doing and where you want to be.
Yeah.
You're the only one that knows that.
Yeah.
So can you set a threshold? This is good enough and it's done, and celebrate that. And also like celebrate that because you've been putting these things off,
Yeah.
right? So when you do it, even if it's that small task and that check mark, celebrate it
Yeah. Absolutely.
because you're building that skill, you're building that reinforcement within yourself that you can finish things,
Yes.
that you are not a quitter or a
Yeah. I mean,
non-finisher or
it's
whatever
like
you want to
you're
say.
proving to yourself, right? You're proving to yourself that you
Yeah,
can do this thing. And not to say that you're not going to always finish everything. Like, that's not realistic. But you also get to decide what are the important things to you or to help your business or your art practice move forward, and make
yeah,
sure that you're investing in those things. That way, you will feel that high. Like, there is nothing like finishing a big project and either seeing it in real life or seeing it on a product or seeing it on a website or whatever it is. You finished it, and there is like this point of pride, right? That you start to feel like, oh, I can do it, which means I can do the next thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think also, since we are talking about like a creative business, you don't have a business if you don't finish things.
Exactly. I
Like
know.
you need to finish.
Yeah.
There's nothing to show. 80% isn't done.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
So like you need to finish things in order to keep having a business. Otherwise, maybe it's just a hobby.
Yeah. Which is,
I mean, I'm saying this for myself too.
yeah.
Like as someone who wants to license their patterns, if I have 50 patterns that are 80% done, I don't have a collection to share with
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
I have nothing to share.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to finish. Ah.
Yeah. Okay. So you talked about breaking your like last 20% into tiny, doable actions. I think the other thing that has really helped me bring things to the finish line is accountability, which
Mhm.
we do a lot of, you and I. And so whether you do that with, your art friend, your spouse, your teacher, like whoever it is, your coworker, I think having somebody check in with you, or somebody where like we meet, maybe once a week, sometimes twice a week, and just co-work. And doing that has helped me bring so many projects to completion. And it's not that you're like pushing me in a way that I feel like, like stop it. It's more
Mhm.
like it's just that accountability piece. It's having somebody who knows you're trying to do a thing and who just checks in on you periodically and says, how's it going? Or who can say, oh, I understand. Like I've had a difficulty with that too. And like might give you a tip to move forward. Um,
Yeah.
so that's kind of two things, right? It's like accountability, but also we set aside specific time. So it's either you're time blocking your own time or you're creating, some kind of place, some kind of space where you're co-working with somebody to use that time for a specific task. Or, for us, it's like we have full-time jobs, but we use this 1 hour during our lunch hour and we pick a topic, we pick a thing, and we work on it in 20-minute sprints. And then we part ways and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
I got these things done. Or I move forward on those tasks that I was hoping I could move forward on.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it is the accountability. And that can be, you know, like you're saying, your art friend, your spouse, your partner, someone at work, whatever it is. But also setting a deadline for yourself. Like you've identified the things that you need to do, set a deadline and stick to it and show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Keep the promises you make to yourself.
Hmm. I'm
You
glad I'm not the only one doing that a lot today.
know what? It's all this talk about eating the frog. I have a frog in my throat.
Your body's like, nope, nope,
Yeah,
don't
my
let it
body's
in.
like, I reject that. I reject that. We're not eating a frog. Um, yeah, so setting a hard deadline um, for yourself, which I think we're going to ask this of you, our lovely audience.
Yeah.
What is the thing that you're going to do this week that is in that 80-20 rule? What's in that 20% that you haven't finished
Hmm.
that you're going to commit to finishing by the end of this week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kristi?
Kristi. Um, well, I'm still working on this calendar, so I need to finish at least one more of the new illustrations this week. I'd prefer two, but
Mm,
reasonably, let's go with one.
okay.
And this also brings up one other tool, which
Mm,
is not my favorite. I don't like to do this, but I'm doing it right now, so I have to use it as an example, which is public commitment to a task. And some people do that by, sending an email newsletter to their list. They
mm,
put something on Instagram, they put something in, maybe you're in some kind of artist group on, I don't know, Patreon or wherever, someplace. Um,
hmm.
and you just publicly say, I'm going to do this thing by this date.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, not my
I mean,
favorite, but it can work.
that's scary,
Yeah.
and that is definitely something that would work for me. I might resent it, but I'll do
Yeah.
it. If I say I'm going to do it publicly,
Yeah.
I will do it. I think I've mentioned before, I'm the one that's rearranging the deck chairs on the sinking Titanic. So like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm going to finish um, one pattern in my Italian collection.
Nice. I like it.
I'm gonna have to dust off my illustrator skills because it's been a while.
You can do it.
um, I'm publicly committing to that. But also, okay, so all this talk about what are we going to do for the next week? But maybe let's also just say in the comments, you can share what it is that you'd like to finish if you feel like publicly sharing, which we encourage you to do. This is a safe space. But also, maybe think about a project that you have finished. Maybe you want to share a project where you crossed the finish line on something that you've been putting off. And how did that make you feel?
Yeah.
Like, because that's something to remember in these challenging moments when you're trying to finish something and for all the reasons we've talked about, you're not doing it. It's good to remember how it feels when you do it.
Hmm.
And that can also help motivate you to finish so that you can have that feeling again and be proud of what you've done. So maybe share that in the comments
Yeah.
too.
Share the wins. And also just people sharing their wins, it inspires other people to, want
Yeah.
to have those same feelings and those same things happen in their own lives. So, yes, we love to hear about wins.
Yay for wins. Okay. Anything else?
I think so.
No. I think we're done. This is good. This is episode 4.
Yes.
Title, what did we say the title is? Well, whatever the title is. This is episode 4.
Your pile of almost done things.
Your pile of almost done things, which is going to become less by the time you finish listening to this episode and do
Absolutely. The
fun
pile is
things.
getting smaller.
Yeah, don't add more to the pile.
Right.
Make the pile smaller.
Yes.
Get those things out of your head. Make room for space.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will be back. We have 6 more episodes planned for this season.
Yep.
I know you're all just grabbing the edge of your seat. You're ready for this ride. Stay with us.
And if you like the episode, share it. We're trying to get the word out about the
yeah.
podcast. We would love that if you would. If you don't feel obligated, but if you like the conversation, feel free to share it. We would appreciate it.
Yeah. If you think someone would benefit from it,
Yeah.
please share it.
Yeah. All right. We
All
will
right.
talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Art After Dark. If you connected with today's episode, we'd love for you to subscribe and share it with a friend who's on their own creative quest. And if you want to follow along with our work, you'll find all the links in the show notes. Until next time, keep creating, and we'll see you after dark.